Hello, my lovely peaches. It is still Tuesday, October 1st, 2019, 11:09 a.m. now. This is part 3 of living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. So I wanted to just add some basics, some basic to-dos. So if you really want to get into the feeling, living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, I suggest and recommend diving deep into that feeling. Use lists. Write out what is the wish? What is the wish that I want fulfilled? So the more you can specify the details of what that wish is, the more you can get into the feeling of it being fulfilled. And what I suggest is don't allow yourself to be limited by circumstantial evidence. Don't allow yourself to believe that what you have achieved or received or accomplished or experienced up till now in the past, don't allow that to make you think that that's a limit of where you can go next, where you can go financially, where you can go in a romantic relationship, how you can feel about yourself, your own physical fitness, your own physical health, your own mental health, your spiritual growth. Don't think that where I've been is some type of reflection of a limit of where I can go. So I recommend, in order to get into the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you need to get into the feeling of the wish. So like I mentioned in the other part 1 and part 2, if it's financial abundance that you're wishing for, but yet you're creating an image of a wish that's very limited or close to impossible, then it's going to be really hard for you to step into living in the feeling of that wish fulfilled, because you can't believe it. You can't believe it because the wish that you've created for yourself is so impossible for you to believe that you just simply cannot get into the feeling of it. So same situation, if the wish that you want fulfilled is a healthy, loving, mutual, romantic relationship with a specific person, but that specific person is not available to you, then trying to get yourself to live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled of a happy, committed relationship with that specific person is, again, going to be extremely difficult. Because in order for you to believe it, you have to suspend so much belief that it really feels like a fantasy, and it can feel kind of crazy and unhealthy. Because you want this wish of a satisfying mutual relationship with this person, but they are not into it, or they're not available for it, or whatever the case is, why they're lacking. So what I recommend in that case is, whether it's income, specific person, love, fitness, or anything, in order to get into the feeling, like let's say you weigh 350 pounds and you want to lose 130 pounds and be fit, and then you hear someone saying, live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and you're like, well, I'm over here 350 pounds. How do I feel like I'm 130 or 120? Well, going general, backing away from details that are so specific that they are feeling impossible for you to feel into. So if it's love, what I've done personally is I wrote out the list of my priorities of this loving relationship that I want to create in general. It's a specific romantic relationship I want to create. And although I have a specific person in mind, when I try to think about living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled of this romantic relationship with my specific person, it doesn't feel good, because what I see is, well, how is he going to be a good partner when he's not interested in being a partner? How am I going to be happy being showered with love and affection if the person that I have put in that role is not showering me with love and affection and doesn't want to? So the way that I can feel like I'm living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, is to back off of that specific person in my wish, which doesn't mean I'm letting go of loving him, but it does mean I'm letting go of clinging to the attachment of the idea of the only way for me to feel the feeling of the wish fulfilled, or the only way for me to have my wish fulfilled, is through that specific person. So since that's hindering me and actually creating a gap from me feeling the feeling of the wish fulfilled, let alone actually even experiencing the wish fulfilled, I personally need to back away from the idea of that specific person and get more into the idea of a specific person who I don't actually know his name or have a face right now, that fulfills my wish. So when I think about specific person over here that's just not evoking these feelings of the wish fulfilled, instead of me focusing on that person and continuing to feel lack, I am allowing myself to say, my wish is going to be fulfilled. And what's more important to me than a specific person outside of myself is me. I'm the specific person that matters the most. Me, I matter. I matter above and beyond another specific person, because if I'm choosing a specific person who's ill-matched for me, my wish is going to be fulfilled and it's going to feel like crap. It's kind of like when I was finally back with Heart, and I was like, here I am living with the man I've wanted to be with all this time, have his children, we're in a so-called committed relationship, but I'm miserable because he specifically isn't interested in marriage, at least not at this time of his life, and not with me, and not in any time of the future that he can foresee. He didn't want to have a married, family-centric life. That's not what he wanted. So in order for me to have the wish fulfilled of being with Heart, I had to abandon the other aspects of my wishes, which were to have a committed marriage and to have a family life where instead of it being like the only way you can hang out with your kids is if I'm not there, and the only way I can be with the kids is if you're not there, which is not at all the family-centric life that I want. Like, I had a girlfriend who on the weekends she would tell me about all the cool things that her and her husband and her kids do. And she's like, what do you and Hart do on the weekend with your kids? And I'm like, well, he takes them for a few hours while I go do something by myself without them. And then when I have them, he leaves because we can't get along well enough around the children. So therefore, we can never do fun things like a family. And every time I'm with the kids, he's not with us. And every time he's with the kids, I'm not with them. Because the only way we can actually be together is like that. And what I realized was, after a few more years of that, I am never going to live in the wish fulfilled of having a happy marriage with a husband who wants to be with me and the kids, and also wants to be with me and just me, and wants to do all of these things and shares my visions of life. As long as I cling to the idea that it must be this specific person, then my so-called wish fulfilled is always going to be lacking. And so I had to get to a place where I was willing to say, In order for me to have this wish fulfilled, I have to release the specific person that I've decided is the one that's going to come through, because it's not going to come through that way. And sometimes that is what you've got to do. And a lot of people talk about